Hello, welcome to Let's Talk Sports with Rick, my wonderful friend Jack. How are you, man?
Maintaining.
You want to make the announcement?
No, you make the announcement.
Well, we're in a new studio. Awesome. We upgraded. We're doing some great things. The shows are doing well. WWDBTV is excelling, and we are so fortunate to be in a new studio. This is the very first show. So welcome to our first show in our new studio. We couldn't do it without you all. We thank you for being an audience and being part of this group and liking our shows.
Absolutely.
And thanking us and sharing. And we just, the sky's the limit for us. We love this show. We do some great things. And we got a lot to talk about in sports. As you know, we have our NBA show. We'll talk exclusively NBA because there's a lot to talk about. Clippers. We'll talk about that on the NBA show. But let's get started. Let's talk about hockey first.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. What happened to the Montreal Canadiens? Unbelievable turnaround. I can't believe what's happened there.
For one, I thought that the Jets were going to do something, and then all of a sudden the Canadians said, we have something. We're still here, and not only they said they were here, they dominated.
Yeah, but how about to start with beating Toronto? They were down 3-1. It looks like it's over for Montreal. The season is over. First of all, they were the last team to make the playoffs. They were the last team in. They made it on the last day of the season. So they almost didn't make the playoffs. They played like everybody thought they would play. Toronto goes up 3-1. Since then, Montreal has won 7 straight games. They beat Toronto 3 straight, and then they beat Winnipeg 4 straight. What's in their water over there? What happened? I mean, that is one of the biggest turnaround in sports I've ever seen. 7 straight games after being last into the playoffs and 1-3 with no chance to go on. They've won 7 in a row, ready to meet the Golden Knights.
Not yet. The Knights need to take care of. They need to take care of the Avalanche right now, and then
That series is over.
Hey, be careful what you say, because as you can see with the Canadians, how they came back down 3-1.
It's not the Golden Knights. The Golden Knights are not going back to Colorado. They're going home tomorrow and finishing this series. The Knights are a very good team. Colorado is a tough team, and the Knights have really leaned on them. They've really banged on them. And when it's time to win, like last night, Colorado looks like the winner again. What was it, 2 games ago, they were down 2 goals with 5 minutes to play, the Knights. They go out and win the game. They were down 2-0 yesterday. All of a sudden, in the third period, it's 2-2. They win it. Stone hits that wide open shot. Man, what kind of defense was that to finish that game? But the Knights look good. I'm telling you, we had this conversation a few weeks ago, and I asked you after game 1, I said, are the Knights done? You said Colorado's got their number.
They do.
No, whose number?
They got
the losing number.
They got their number.
What number does Colorado have? This series, I'll tell you right now, this series is over.
And
body language. Watch the body language.
But the thing is, what I'm hoping for is that the Knights, they don't start celebrating too quickly and actually go out and finish. One of the hardest things to do is to actually close out a team. That game 4 is so hard.
You're so hard.
So they can't already say thinking that they already have it in the bag, because guess what? In the last series with Minnesota thought they had it, and the Knights showed them otherwise.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. I just hope that they don't looking towards Florida or Tampa Bay.
Well, that's a little premature yet, but you talk
but that's who's waiting on the winners.
You talk about Tampa Bay. I mean, you think about this. They beat a very good Florida team.
Very good.
And then they beat a very good Hurricane team, Carolina. And they beat them both up. Tampa Bay is the real deal, and probably, in my opinion, going to repeat. It's either going to be them or the Golden Knights are going to get. As I look at it, and you all have a different opinion, you have all your own cities that you like. Somebody might think it might be the Islanders. I don't know. Islanders are looking great against Boston.
They're looking good.
Boston has surprised me in that they're letting the Islanders beat them. They're down.
Yeah, they're up 3.
It's a tough series. 3-2.
That's
a tough
actually
series.
that's actually my biggest
That
surprise
series is not over.
because I wasn't expecting the Islanders to be up 3-2 right now to be
playing
able
great
to
hockey.
next game to close it out.
Tampa playing unbelievable hockey. I think I think Montreal is on a great run, but something tells me next round they're going to get beat up. They just don't have the players, but they got the momentum. I don't understand what happens to teams. Again, going back to that, I'm so befuddled that they would win 7 in a row.
Sometimes teams just get hot, and you get hot.
Beat up on Winnipeg.
You get hot at the right time, especially the best time to get hot is in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, like what have you told me before? It's all about when you play, how you're playing,
Yes.
the moment.
It's not who you play, it's when you play them.
We look back to just recently, a few years ago, when the Washington Nationals won Major League Baseball. We never expected that.
No.
Nobody expected that, and they weren't that great of a team. They limped into the playoffs, and nobody expected it, but they had that momentum. Players that were average players stepped up and played great. Right now, Montreal and Tampa Bay, and I mean, there's some teams playing well. The Knights are playing very, very well. They don't want to be beat. Every time I think the Knights are beat by Colorado, they come back. It's happened in 2 games now. So we'll see what happens.
And game 2 was unfortunate too. Them losing in overtime like that.
Oh, that was tough, and they lost quickly.
But that game was the beginning of the Knights' momentum, and despite them losing that game, they still outplayed Colorado.
Absolutely, you're so right.
They've outplayed Colorado in every game since. When we were at breakfast a couple of weeks ago, or maybe last week or so, that's one of the things that Bobby said about that game is an out. You got to throw that out because they switched.
He did say you got to throw game 1 out.
Yeah, because you switched.
He's
switched
a
goalie.
hockey aficionado. He knows more about hockey than forgot more about hockey than
I'll ever learn.
Yeah.
That's
our
good
who
friend
Bobby Singer, great sports mind.
So one of the things he said, how the Knights messed up was by switching goalies. The guy, in a sense, like Marc-Andre Fleur, he wanted the series. Why switch? But I think they just needed to give him a break.
Leonard hasn't seen the ice since that first game.
No, he has not.
That 7-1 joke.
No.
But I mean, you're right. In game 2, I saw it in the second period. The Knights finally kicked in, and they ended up losing that game. But I said, man, Colorado's in trouble. And, Colorado continues to be in trouble. I don't know what your thoughts are. For me, I believe that it's going to be Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Golden Knights in the championship. What are you thinking? Thinking the same thing?
No, because the next round they have to face each other.
Yeah.
So, do I think the Knights are gonna come out of the series? Yeah, absolutely. They're gonna get a run for their money when it comes to Tampa Bay.
Is anybody good as Tampa Bay?
No, and we've called it. You guys can go back when the season started, how we were picking teams. You'll see that we said whoever came out of the Florida and Tampa Bay series will most likely win it.
Yeah, a lot
because
of
they were playing each other hard, and just the way they were playing there, it's like they know they're more talented than any other team, and they're playing that way.
And it's so hard to repeat.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, this is going to be 2 in a row for them. So it's been fun to watch. I've been enjoying hockey. I've been enjoying the way the Knights are playing. I love watching Tampa Bay, but we'll see what happens, and we'll have a lot more to report next week. We'll be closer to understanding where we are with everything. Let's switch over to Major League Baseball.
Yes.
We got any new news coming out of Major League Baseball besides a lot of injuries and a lot of strikeouts? It's a funny game right now. What's your opinion on what's going on in the major leagues right now? And of course, we had some news about rules.
They're saying that the pitchers are tampering with the balls,
Been happening forever.
And it's almost like during the steroid era where it's like, for me, no matter how much steroid you take, you have to be able to hit the ball. You may hit it harder, you may hit it further, but you have to still be able to hit the ball.
Yeah, you've got to have the basic ability.
Yes.
Hit the curveball, hit the slider, hit the fastball, hit the knuckleball, whatever it is. You got to be able to hit.
So what has changed since then?
Well, what has changed is simple. There's a lot of strikeouts, and they start investigating it. 39% of the outs are strikeouts. That's crazy. 4 out of every 10 at bats is a strikeout. So now all of a sudden, the batters start complaining, and they saying the ball's being doctored. They look into it, and now they're going to change the rules. They say within the next 2 weeks that a pitcher is going to be inspected, his hands, his body, his uniform, twice a game to appease the people that are complaining about it.
So one, they said that for that rule that they're not going to do it in the middle of the inning. So you suspect a pitcher for doing something illegal, and you're going to let that affect the hitter's his on base percentage.
Yeah.
So afterwards, you find out he was cheating. So then, what do you do after that?
Yeah.
What about my? Because that's gonna mess with my money.
Yeah. Well, you suspend enough guys, the batting averages will go up. But it's a funny thing. It got brought up. It happens. Everybody's done it forever. Guys put spit on the ball, residue, whatever it is, tar. The balls are tampered with. Everybody will go for an advantage. We saw that in Houston a couple years ago. They thought they were getting away with what they were doing, and of course they got caught. Some pitchers will get caught, but not a lot, because you know why? They're already aware of it, and I think you'll see all of a sudden that the batting averages will start going up and the strikeouts will start going down, because nobody wants to get suspended or be accused of being a cheater. You don't know how long they're going to suspend you, 30, 40, 50 games. That affects a team terribly.
But Rick,
particularly what if a top pitcher like Kershaw or Bauer with the Dodgers gets suspended? That hurts the team that's in third place right now. They can't afford to have players out.
Yeah, but I think it's beyond that. One of the things is the game has changed in the way players play. All these players are trying to do is hit home runs. When you try to go for
it's become a home run game.
So then guess what? You're going to have more strikeouts by doing so. So it's not just the pitchers are tampering with the balls. It's the style of play where it's either I get a strikeout or I get a home run. Home runs are up, isn't it?
Well, there's a lot of home runs.
Because that's the style of play.
That's a good question. I don't know if home runs are up. I haven't been watching it
when was the last time you hear a guy, he hit for a cycle?
Oh, well, that's a different story. Hitting for the cycle is pretty tough.
It is tough, but players are not going for a cycle. No,
they'd rather bang it.
Exactly. So it's the style of play has changed, and the pitchers are taking advantage of the style of play.
Yeah.
The hitters still got to hit the ball. It's not tampering with the ball. It's hitters got to learn how to hit.
Yeah, and it's funny throughout sports. I mean, and that's like saying, okay, they're banging, they're going for the home runs. No different in the NBA. What do they say? It's a 3-point game now.
Yes.
The 3-point, the team that can shoot the 3-pointers wins.
It's the money ball.
Perfect example, Utah. The 3-pointers. The 3-pointer is what wins. It's the same thing in baseball. The home run gets everybody pumped up. It's the thing. So, sports are evolving, whether it's good or great or okay. But
when was the last time you seen a major league hitter bunt the ball?
Not very often.
Exactly, but remember, growing up.
Oh my God! Get the guy on first.
Get the winning.
Steal third and let somebody hit a sacrifice fly.
Yes,
you're absolutely correct. That's how I grew up. You had a great game pitched and you won 1-0.
That style of play is not there anymore.
Well, it's not popular. Fans don't want to see a bunt. Fans want to see a 480-foot home run.
I want to see a win. Yeah, I want my team to win.
No matter what. And baseball, it's some real average teams in baseball this year. There's some good teams, teams like that are surprising me. The Giants, Chicago White Sox, both playing really great baseball. Padres are playing good ball. Cardinals are doing fine. Tampa Bay continues to do well. The Yankees concern me. They are not playing well.
Well, they're in a tough division with Tampa Bay and Boston in the number 1 and 2 spot.
Boston's playing great ball.
Even like so, even with your Dodgers, I think you should be concerned with San Francisco and San Diego. In
Dodgers
that,
will be fine.
okay, well, we'll see at the end of the season.
The Dodgers will be fine.
Okay,
They've made it through. So they've had some serious injuries this year, and they're getting some guys back, and the Dodgers are going to be okay. But I give the Giants and Padres absolute props. It's like you said. You got to give the Padres credit. They went out and improved their ball club. They went out and got players to compete with the Dodgers. They signed the guys they needed to sign. They got some pitchers. They kept people like Manny Machado. They had gone out and got Tatis. Hosmer at first base. They kept him. He's a great player. The Padres are a very good baseball team. The Giants, I keep waiting for them to fall off the mountain. I think by July it'll happen.
Well,
I think they'll finish close to 500 or below 500 this year. That's my opinion of the Giants. I think that by July they'll be losing.
What I noticed with the MLB schedule is they're doing it where you're playing back-to-back series or closer series.
Yeah,
So I think a lot of teams that they're playing right now are generally mediocre teams. So if you're playing them in a week or so, you're playing them 6 times, and you win. And you win.
Playing each other a lot.
And you win five of those games. You're gonna maintain that first place.
Yeah, look at the Yankees and Boston going at it.
Yeah, but
Boston swept them over the weekend, and that hadn't been done in how long? That was great. Boston's playing good ball. I'm an Alex Cora fan. I liked him as a player. I like him as a manager. I'm also an Aaron Boone fan, and so I like those two teams, and I want them to continue to fight it out, and I hope they get somehow and play each other in the playoffs. Nowadays everybody makes the playoffs. So the thing that's really getting into my mind about baseball, watching ESPN News, every single night there are so many players on the injury list. 6, 7, 8 guys every night. I'm watching injury list. I'm like, my God, a lot of injuries in baseball this year. Why do you think that is?
I think that has to do
Not
with
enough training camp.
Yeah, and the season doesn't allow routines that was done in the past. So a lot of their workout, the stuff that they used to do to work out, the stuff that they would do to keep their bodies in shape, or keep it in a sense ready for baseball. They don't do that anymore because there's a lot of protocols that they have to keep and meet to make sure that they're not
constant protocols. It was the same
they're not
problem
they're not jeopardizing their team. So it's gonna cause injuries, and expect the same thing to happen in like, say, even the NFL, as it did in the NBA. The only surprising one that it didn't really affect for me, as far as I've seen, is hockey. So
yeah, hockey's been great.
Yeah. So otherwise, but a lot of these physical contact sports, it's affecting them dearly.
Yeah, absolutely. So baseball, we got a long way to go. We're a third of the way through the season. I want to talk about a couple of controversial subjects, but first I don't want to be remiss in missing, because we have a limit on these shows, and there's so much we could talk about. But I want to talk a little bit about women's softball.
Yes, sir.
It's been fun to watch, right?
Yes.
It's so much more enjoyable than the men's college game.
Yes.
It's really enjoyable, and we've seen some records set and some great ball games.
Some unbelievable plays. You have Alabama, where all of a sudden, like, Alabama wasn't necessarily on my radar. Even female softball right now wasn't on my radar. And then it's like, oh, hey, did you hear about what's that, Montana Fouls? You heard about?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. So then now tune into the game. She's pitching on her way to pitch a perfect game. What? Oh, it's her birthday too?
Yeah.
Oh,
21.
She just turned 21.
Great story.
21 batters up, 21 batters down on her birthday.
Nobody reached base. It was the first perfect game in women's softball
in 20 years.
And you know what's ironic about that in the cruelty of sports? So she pitches that great game, and Alabama had continued to advance. And then her very next start in a game that's an elimination game for them, she gets lit up for 7 runs. And I'm like, oh my goodness, look at this young lady. Florida State lit her up. She had that unbelievable game, perfect game, first time in 20 years. So happy on her birthday. Her dad was going just crazy. The next game up, sports are cruel.
But this
and Alabama's out of it.
But this is why we watch sports, because it's the greatest reality show we can watch where we don't know the outcome.
That's why we watch sports. We never know the outcome.
And we follow the highs and we follow the lows, and then we end up getting vested in these players. Another one is Odessa Alexander at James Madison.
Yeah, she pitched great. James Madison, you talk about not being on the radar. They were not a rated team. They come into the playoffs. They win 2 games. They beat Oklahoma, who's number 1. Right off the bat, Oklahoma had to fight all the way back to get to the championship. But this young lady, Miss Alexander, great pitcher, great heart, made an incredible play at the plate. I know you saw that to save her team. And
yeah, it's the first time I've seen a bunt in so long with a ball
and glove. Women's softball.
Yeah,
it's really a technical game. I love it, but that play she made, I mean, a close game. It's looking like it might be a tie game. The ball gets bunted right back to her. She scoops it up, dives, fully dives and tags her out,
and
they end up winning. I mean, but what an effort.
Again,
was it the number 1 play on ESPN top 10? Was it the number 1? I didn't watch top 10.
It was on top. It was number 1.
I thought it'd be number 1. What a great play!
But again, like you said, how sports is cruel. The next day, she got lit up.
Well, she did get lit up. And the funny thing about it is, Oklahoma had to beat them twice to get to the championship. They beat them, and they beat them easy. But James Madison, give them credit. They made a good run. But it just was fun watching women's softball. We're basically, we love our basketball, baseball, football, but, that's the thing about this show, and that's why we thank you for watching. We talk about a lot of things, and again, kudos to all those, the women's softball there. It's been fun.
It's way more exciting than the men's. I'm sorry.
I'll be watching Florida State and Oklahoma tonight. Now, Florida State in 2 out of 3 is up 1 game to nothing.
You think that freshman, what's her name? Is it Kaylee Harding?
Oh, out in right field.
Yeah, she drove in 4 runs.
And threw a player out at third.
Yes.
Did you see this throw?
Yes.
She got a better arm than a guy. Unbelievable.
So they're one win away from
it. I'm telling you, watch that women's softball. It's exciting. It was fun. Talking about exciting, let's talk about a couple of controversial subjects before we close today. Bob Baffert's still in the news. Churchill Downs suspended him for 2 years, and anybody on his crew. They cannot run horses, and it's related to the positive test of his horse that had betamethasone, Medina Spirit. 2 tests came back, 2 test results positive. He's banned there. He's banned. They don't know how long over in Belmont. We don't know. We don't know how long he's going to be banned in New York. But he's stepping up and fighting it, saying that he was told by a couple of the testers that the samples were contaminated. Now he's suing the Kentucky Racing Board. What's going on there, man? What a mess for Bob Baffert.
So the problem with him is, for the casual horse racing fan or people that don't necessarily know about the sport, they know about the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah,
and what he did was he tarnished the integrity of the Kentucky Derby, which is one of the most popular race for the sport, for the general viewer.
Yeah.
And they're punishing him for that, which you can't blame them. He tarnished the sport. He's been caught cheating in years. Granted, he's had appeal here and there for certain occasions. At the end of the day, he's tarnished it, and they want to make sure that no other trainer is going to end up doing that, because they're going to be held accountable. Wow, accountability in 2021. Holy smokes.
You got to think about the way Jason Service is being prosecuted for maximum security. His big horse that won the Kentucky Derby, and of course got disqualified for problems in the lane, a problem with another horse, and he got disqualified. But then it went on, and he was caught with lots of drugs in his system. Jason Service is being prosecuted, And that's a crazy thing. But we'll talk more about horse racing as we go and what's going on. We've got only a couple minutes left here. These shows go so fast, 30 minutes. I wanted to finish with the John Rahm story. PGA Memorial Championship over the weekend. He's up by 6 shots, playing unbelievable golf. Out on the golf course, ready to go start round 3. The officials come to him and tell him, you tested positive for COVID. You're going to have to isolate now. You can't play anymore. I saw that guy fall to his knees and begin to cry, and I couldn't believe it. What had happened to him? Like I said to you, what a stroke of bad luck. And you said to me, it's not bad luck. He didn't follow protocol. I don't know anything about all that, but here's a guy who's a good golfer, who's usually always around the top 10, always flirts with the leadership throughout. Great player from Spain. It was a blow, man. Up by 6 and you're out of the tournament. Cantley ends up winning it, but John Rahm has no chance after he's up by 6. What were your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on it is as far as, hey, there are certain things that you and I personally do to make sure that our family's protected from what's going on right now. So there are certain things where we wash our hands more. We don't go out there socialize, and we don't do a lot of things that we would have normally done prior to the pandemic, because we want to keep our family protected. So I think when it comes to sports and athletes, you have to think about the bigger picture and who it's going to affect. It affected him. I don't know what he did prior to or whatever the case is.
We're never going to know who had it or.
But at the end of the day, you're about to.
It's just a bad blow.
You're about to enter a tournament with strangers too, because everybody come from different parts of the world and the states to come play this tournament. So if you bring it there's a potential for you to give it to them, and then they go back wherever they're from. So and you don't want that yourself, because you don't want to bring it home to your family. And he's got a young a newborn at home too. So you definitely want to make sure that you're taking the necessary precautions. One for your purse, because I believe it was like a either like 1.4 or 1.6 million dollars.
It's big money.
Was the first prize.
It's a big.
And he was right there at 6 points.
He was playing. I was watching the tournament. I watch all sports.
So
he was in the groove, and 6 up. He looked like the winner. But you had 2 rounds to play. You never know. But it's an unfortunate incident.
Absolutely.
It's one that we feel bad for the guy and his family, but that's the way life is today in America and all over the world. We're all held responsible to not carry COVID and to pass it on. So it is what it is. It happened. I wanted to bring it up. Unfortunately for us, we're out of time today. No more time left. We have exhausted
There is
this great
actually
show.
more time.
Go ahead.
Hey, if you want to hear more of our commentary, because we actually didn't even talk about NBA, you got to watch our NBA show.
NBA show is, unto itself so much to talk about. That'll get fiery. Our NBA shows are never calm and sedate like this show. Never a dull moment. But thanks for watching us. Thanks for liking us and looking at all the different venues you can get us at. WWDBTV, Roku TV, Apple TV, YouTube. We really appreciate you following us, watching us, liking our show, sharing it with your friends. Please share it. I hope you like our new environment, our new studio. This is the first show here. Many, many more to come. We look forward to your loyalty and your continued viewership. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Check out our NBA show.
Hit that subscribe button.
We look forward to seeing you soon. God bless. Thanks for tuning in.